We're having a little salsa for lunch today. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Fitness and Friends. I am your humble host, Dr. Bob Ruano. If Mahatma Gandhi wore tights, sported a man bun, and had a 275-pound snatch, he might be confused with my next guest here today. Son of a Cuban diaspora, he is the founder of Arc School of Fitness, which is one of the only co-op gyms in the Northeast that I'm aware of. He is a member of the Mankind Project, which is a global network of nonprofit organizations focused on modern male initiatives, self-awareness, and personal growth. He's a volunteer at the OWL Project, where he's dedicated to helping others move toward optimal work lives. He's a 2007 UF grad with a degree in English, a precision nutrition level 2 coach. He's also a USAW advanced sports performance coach. And finally, Mike has his pre- and postnatal coach's certification from Girls Gone Strong. And if that weren't enough, he is a loving husband, a doting father. He plays a mean ukulele. And as my wife's grandmother used to say, he's a fine-looking fella. Let's welcome Michael Espinosa. What's happening, my friend?
Yes.
Did you like that? How was that?
I love that. So not the son of Cuban desperados, but the Cuban diaspora. It's a little different. Yeah.
So, so that puts us back at your home place. Not Cuba, of course, but
Hialeah,
which is
kind of like Cuba.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of like Cuba. So, Hialeah. My fitness background.
Yeah, man.
So how did I get into it?
Please.
Man, going to the park playing basketball. So it all started there. Basketball. Playing pickup basketball, summer league baseball.
But there was some sharp elbows on those courts.
Yeah, a lot of sharp elbows, a lot of rough kids.
Yeah.
A lot of bullies.
The mean streets of Hialeah.
The mean streets of Hialeah, yes. Vietnam. We used to call it Vietnam.
Is that right?
Yeah, true story.
All right. So, young man, you grew up down there. Mm-hmm. Education-wise, where'd you go from there?
I actually have a background in design from back then. So I went to a visual arts middle school and high school, and so, visual arts was kind of my thing growing up. Basketball was what I did, kind of on the side. Yeah. Ended up coming to the University of Florida in 2002 and getting my degree, bachelor's degree in English from the University of Florida.
That's awesome. If we could back up just a little bit, the design interest that you had, that urban design, you mentioned you'd worked for a firm that was responsible for Seaside, Florida.
Yeah. So this firm, it was called Duane Plater Zyberk. Now I think it's called like a DPK Co-Design. Okay. And they're an urban planning and design firm, and they're kind of, I guess, like really responsible for this idea of what's called new urbanism, which is kind of a return to kind of traditional town planning principles. Sidewalks
and front porches and that type of thing.
Yeah. Sidewalks, front porches, that kind of thing. Because, after World War II, kind of town planning switched from being at a human scale to being kind of really the automobile being like the prime kind of idea and reasons for the reasons why we have town planning the way that it is now. You kind of like where I'm from in Miami, you have to drive everywhere.
Right.
Whereas when you look at really the most successful cities in the world, places like Paris, New York, Chicago, those are places where you can walk around.
You can.
And to human scale.
Well, the Seaside, which we mentioned earlier, that is like one of my favorite places to vacation. And I used to brag about that we'd pull in on a Saturday, you get out of the car, and that's the next time you're in the car is then following Saturday when you're leaving. Yeah. We biked everywhere. It's a cool town. You've been over there?
I haven't been to Seaside.
Man, it's about 30 minutes east of Destin. On that, was it 30A? It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's where they filmed that
The Truman Show?
Truman Show, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right. So you went to UF. So that's what brought you to Gainesville.
Yeah, and the girls got me in the gym. because you want to try to look good. So
I get it.
So you go in and you do, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go and do my 3 sets of 10 bench press, and then I'll follow it up with some 3 sets of 10 curls. And then I'll follow it up with 3 sets of 10 of tricep extensions.
Wait a second, you're describing the workout I did this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get a little pump for the show.
Well, full circle. Nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
But yeah, you go into the gym because you want to make an impression, and so that's how it kind of morphed.
Yeah.
And then you realize, man, I really like this. I really like fitness. I really like keeping my body in shape, and feeling good, and paying attention to this body that I have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You no longer take it for granted. I mean, you appreciate the vessel that we're given and the things that it can do for us.
Yeah, of course.
And looking a certain way kind of helps with the ladies too.
Of course. The looks get you in the door.
Right.
And then, the mind is what keeps it going,
okay.
right? The conversation.
Of course. You can ask my wife that.
Yeah. Of course.
All right. So you finished UF in 2007.
Yeah.
What are you thinking at that point?
Well, I'm thinking where do I get a job? How do I get paid?
Right.
I wanted to teach, and that's kind of like the common thread of everything that has kind of my entire career up until this point. Yeah, is teaching.
Right.
So I did a year with Alachua County Public Schools. I taught at Lincoln Middle School for a year, and then at that point, I was offered kind of a job along with my wife to manage an organic farm. Mm-hmm. So my wife and I managed Rosie's Organic Farm for 4 years. It's a farm on east of Gainesville, nearing Jonesville.
Yeah.
And so we did that for 4 years. And at that time, that was 2008 to 2012. So that was the time that CrossFit was really starting to blow up. I read about CrossFit probably in 2007 in the New York Times when they had that first article written about them. And, I'd kind of been watching it. And so once I started farming, I didn't have time anymore to go to the gym. So I decided to build a gym. Those zombie apocalypse gyms from back in the day.
Yes.
So I built one of those just with 4x4s and scraps from the farm. I actually made a wall ball. We have black plastic that we use to suppress weeds.
Yeah.
So I rolled up a couple hundred foot rows of that and made a wall ball that I wrapped in burlap. And that was my favorite wall ball shot ever.
This is like Rocky IV.
Yeah,
when he's in Siberia.
It was like Rocky IV, straight up. It was a Rocky montage.
Yeah,
and so that was the birth of the Arc, which is the gym that I founded about 8 years ago.
Which, by the way, I think that is the coolest name of a gym out there, the Arc School of Fitness.
Yes, the Arc. Do you know what an Arc is?
Well, I always assumed, I've never asked, and so I'm going to ask now, but I always assumed it was a vessel to which people could come and they basically be saved.
Yeah. I mean, in the scriptures you have Noah's Ark, which is the one that people think of.
Right.
But then you also have in the Old Testament the Ark of the Covenant, which is it's basically a chest. It's a strong box that holds precious things. And in the Old Testament, it's like the tablets of Moses and the manna. And so that's what an ark is. It's a chest that holds precious things. In Spanish, a chest is una arca, which is an ark.
Okay.
And then it's also a throwback to the Arc School of Punk Rock, which is that building, which is a bunch of kids lived there. It was an artist collective that had punk rock shows and hip hop shows. So when we went in there, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, the Arc, we could bring that back." And then of course, I'm a huge reggae fan, and then there's the Black Arc of Lee Scratch Perry from Jamaica, which is one of the kind of the Black Arc, some of the most iconic reggae music from the 1970s came out of the Black Arc. Huh. So it's kind of all of these meanings combined.
That's great.
And it has a lot of meaning, and I'm really into that.
Like you said, just the name itself is just, I think it's a badass name.
I think so too. I appreciate it. I'm glad you think so too.
Now the Arc has changed. You've kind of changed the way that you operate.
Yeah, the Arc is an experiment, right? like many other things in our lives. So I started it in 2012, and basically like a CrossFit model. We had classes in the morning, classes in the evening. Really interested in Olympic weightlifting, from the beginning. And over the course of 8 years, it's evolved. My own coaching style has evolved. The programming has evolved. And once the pandemic kind of came around, we were still doing classes in the morning and evening. And then the pandemic kind of gave me space to reconsider the model about what I wanted the ARC to be, how I wanted to be involved as a coach, and the vision for the ARC. So those things have definitely changed. Yeah.
And so, what is the model now?
Model now is, to put it succinctly, open gym, personal training, and community events, with the emphasis being on community events and the open gym. So right now, we're just trying to create a safe space for people to work out, where there's open communication, zero intimidation. It's like Cheers, but gym style. And I am the curator of the vibe. I am the bartender.
There you go.
Serving up the programming. So people, I still program. I'm still coaching, but I'm not there in like a class setting. People have a lot more autonomy when they come into the gym, so they don't have to be there at a set time. Right? They can come in when they want. They can leave when they want, and they still get some support.
Now, in town, you guys have the reputation of that's the Ole school. Like that's where, if Olympic lifting is your sport, you've kind of created that reputation there. You've had some state qualifiers this year too.
Yeah. Well, we had a few of our athletes qualify for state championships. We had a couple athletes medal, which was really, really great.
That's
Love
fantastic.
to see that. Yeah. All of our athletes did really, really well. And we're actually taking one athlete to American Open finals, which is like the old AO. Now there's USA Weightlifting has like a series because AO finals just became too big. So now they have a series of regional meets leading up to AO finals. So I'm going to be going to Denver in December.
How cool.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking it's going to be sunny it's going to be sunny.
It might be
in
sunny,
Denver.
but it's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold, yeah. So I'm taking at least one athlete out there. We're hoping to qualify a second athlete. And we're going to Denver, Colorado, the Mile High City.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you.
That's fantastic. Well, because it seems like, you and I remember this is many years ago. This is probably 2015, 2014. Remember the Crush Games?
Oh, yeah, I remember the Crush Games.
Huh? 15, 16, it was early on.
Dude, the question is, do you remember the lunges from the Crush Games?
Oh, those were pathetic. You call them lunges? I don't know what those were. Those were kind of crawling along
Everyone did them. Hey, I did those lunges. Okay, I'm not judging.
No. If they're calling that a legit lunge, then it's a legit lunge. Those are horrendous, though. But what I do recall, besides the lunging, is we had a big tent, and I don't know, we probably had 15 or 20 athletes there, and during the breaks in between the events, Mike would sit back, play his ukulele, and just chill. That was a lot of fun.
I'm really good at chilling. Yeah, I'm really good at that. I have a lot of practice.
You brought that vibe.
Yeah. I'm trying to bring that vibe everywhere I go, Happiness and joy.
Who was you guys did a team, right? It was you, Chris, and Caleb?
Yeah, 1 year it was us three, yeah. Most definitely.
That's very, if you could pick 3 different personality types.
Oh, yeah.
That's it right there.
And with
but it's great that you guys gelled, man. Yeah, exactly.
7th place.
Legit.
Top 10. We came in with high hopes, got 7th. I was happy with it. I don't know if Chris was.
The band dismantled after that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So with this new model now, because fitness is your passion, but I think we all recognize too your other passion, and besides your family, of course, is service to others. So it sounds like you in reading through some of the bio, and I kind of filtered out some of this stuff because it's only a 30-minute program. If I were to actually list everything that you're doing, I'd have to welcome you and then say goodbye. You spend a lot of time volunteering and putting together different projects. What sticks out right now? What are you most proud of that you're working on?
Well, really, like my work with Changemaker Academy is really like where my career is going. So the ARC is my space, it's my home, and it's going to be around for the foreseeable future. But in terms of like where I'm putting my professional efforts, the work I do with people who are interested in getting into the health and fitness space is really what I'm most excited about. And so the work that we do at Changemaker Academy is we help people who are interested and passionate about health and fitness really find their niche. So just to give you an idea, a lot of people, there's a lot of coaches out there who are helping people make more money in health and fitness. What we're asking the question is, well, what should you even be in health and fitness in the first place?
Yeah.
Number one. And if you're to get into health and fitness, what would you do? Because a lot of people think about, okay, if I'm going to be in health and fitness, I'm going to be a yoga instructor, I'm going to be a personal trainer, I'm going to be a coach. But there's so many other things in the health and fitness space. You could work for a health and fitness company using your amazing spreadsheet skills, right? You can start a podcast.
There you go.
Bob figured it out. Right? So helping people find tap into their unique abilities.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of your unique abilities is your charisma and your desire to learn more about other people and to learn about people's stories.
I think that's
right.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know about the charisma thing, but that second piece,
tapping into your values, like what's really important to you in your life. What does it mean to be successful?
Right.
A lot of us. When we think about success, of course, we think about money. Money's a big thing, right? Money, if you don't make enough money, you don't eat. You can't feed your family. People live and die because they don't have money.
Yeah.
But building a business that makes money does not mean you're going to be happy.
Right.
So at Changemaker, we're trying to bring all of that to the forefront. All of the success metrics, right? Like your quality of life, money for sure.
Yeah.
How much time you're able to spend with your family. What are you actually doing when you're at work? Like,
Yeah.
is it something you're good at? Is this something you like? So that's the work that I'm really excited about. We just wrapped up a 9-week cohort. With one of the first courses that we've offered, which is basically helping people get clear on their unique abilities, their purposes, and their values, so they can really make the best choice moving forward in their career, finding a work that really aligns with all of those things, and really live fulfilled lives, which also segues into the OWL project, which is optimal work life, helping people move into the optimal work lives, and so there's a lot of kind of like intersections and bleeding in between these projects.
Yeah. I had a really good conversation with Caleb a few weeks back, and he's doing, he doesn't want to call it life coaching, but essentially coaching. One of the things he described was like, pulling out your inherent talents. We're our own worst critics, and so when we think about, what talent do I have, we're really quick to say, I have no talents. I've got nothing. But you do. There's a unique ability in all of us, and sometimes it does. It takes someone else or many people around you to pull that out.
Yeah, absolutely, because your unique ability is, a lot of people's unique abilities, they give it away for free.
Yeah.
All right, like me.
Yeah.
I give away my unique ability for free all the time. And because we give them away for free, because we're used to them, because we don't think they're anything special. And so one of the exercises we do actually is we have our students send out questionnaires to their friends and family. Hey, what do you count on me for?
I like that.
What makes me tick? Or if you had to count on me for something, what would it be? What is my unique ability?
Yeah.
And so you really get that perspective. And then, of course, you dive in and ask yourself those questions to see what those things might be. But then once you kind of get an idea and you create these things called unique ability statements of what your unique abilities are, then from there we can move on. Oh man, I am really good at communication and XYZ. So now that becomes a clue, a piece of the puzzle in a much larger kind of framework that will help you get into the career of your dreams.
Sure.
Right? Because
I remember like in high school doing some sort of battery, some sort of test that would give you an idea of what you'd be good for. And I'm not making this up. I was supposed to sell burial plots.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No drum roll on that. That was legit. Yes. Sell burial plots or work for like a funeral home. Wonder why that is. Maybe because I'm empathetic. I don't know.
Really holding back on the macabre jokes right now, man. Really holding back. A lot of people dying out there, Bob. You could have made a killing.
Now that's the drum roll.
Yeah, that's the drum roll. Elio,
there it is. Come on
shout
now.
Out to Elio Sanchez, dopest studio in Gainesville, maybe in Florida. Pinareño, Pinar de Rio Cuba, representing. By the way, we put the salsa because, of course, Cuban diaspora, from the Cuban diaspora.
See, babe, diaspora.
Yeah, and that just means that we fled Cuba, and here we are.
Yeah, take over.
Yeah, took over Hialeah. Gainesville's next.
Well, yeah, he is the king of the Fiesta Media revolution here. So you got all these different projects, and it sounds like you were your own experiment in this the Mankind project, because you're taking your passion for fitness and now you're applying it to help others. And again, going back to that teaching thing.
Yeah, the owl. Mankind is a little different. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. I eat my own dog food, 100%. And I've gone through definitely the motions to understand, what I'm good at, where I would be happy. And a big part of that was why I decided to change the model of the ARC, because I love coaching people, and I love making that connection. And I think for me, I see this shift in my career as a way to have a really deep impact in people's lives. And I think that if you're a coach, I think anybody who gets into this coaching business, this is like a business and a profession of helping others.
Right.
And we want to help others in deep ways.
Yeah.
And so a lot of us get into it thinking, okay, we're going to help people lose weight. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to help people get in great shape. That's going to be great. And then people lose the weight and something's missing. There's a hole there, right? Or even with myself in my own journey, hitting the big weights. Man, I can't wait. When I snatch 275, I'm gonna be on top of the world.
Right.
And then you snatch 275, you're like, oh shit, my life still sucks.
Right. Well, right? It's a constant moving goal line.
Yeah. The ever moving and elusive horizon.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to take a look back and see how far you've come. Because the goalposts are always going to move.
Yeah.
There's 275. All right, let's go 300. Okay, 2% body fat. All right, let's. I
remember, was it a couple of years ago? You did an experiment. You tried to bulk up. You were eating like 4,000 calories a day or something crazy.
Yeah, that was last year. It was actually during the pandemic, and I've gone like kind of back and forth. I'm constantly going like this, experimenting with myself. But yeah, I got up to like 215. I'm like 190 now.
Yeah.
But last year I got up to 215. I was totally sick and tired of food. Could not eat anymore.
Yeah.
It was a great experiment. And I'm super into experimentation and seeing what I can do with my body and sharing that information with others.
So with the Owl Project, is that where again you're working with people getting into that industry? Yes.
What you mean, health and fitness?
Yeah.
Owl Project is kind of a collaboration with professors. And people and researchers who actually like scholarly researchers researching what an optimal work life means.
Yeah.
And that project is about bringing together researchers, the people who are in academia doing the research, leaders of companies who take that research and disseminate it and try to create the optimal work life for their employees.
Yeah.
And then practitioners, people like me, who are taking this information and using it in their own life or using it with their coworkers to create stronger bonds at work or just improving the quality of work and the environment. Something
that's just been of interest to me lately is that leadership role as a boss, as an employer, and I think this probably goes in line with what you're describing. The work environment has changed. People understand that we have a finite amount of time, and our job is not who we are. It's something that we do, and that given your employees, your coworkers, the reins to both have a life outside of work. They become more productive inside of work.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something that we talk about. It's called a work view, and so people have a different kind of view of what their work is. And this is one of the things we try to flesh out with our students. You could look at your work as a job, and a job just allows you to make money, to put food on the table and pay the rent so you can do things outside of work that bring you fulfillment.
Yeah.
You have a career, which does the same thing that a job does, but there's some upward mobility there. You're really interested in maybe in seeking status or climbing up the ladder. And then you have something called a calling, which you kind of alluded to, bleeds into the identity, right? Like this is what this people who have a calling just feel like an intense sense of purpose in what they do, and can be consumed and absorbed by work because they love it, because they find it that it is a calling for them, and so
it kind of sounds like that's the least balanced of them all. Yeah.
I mean, that's why when you realize if this is where you're at, it's important to set up guardrails, like for instance, setting time outside of work to do other things that matter to you. So if family is important to you, then understanding, okay, I'm consumed by my work because I feel so passionately about it. So let me set a guardrail for myself so that I can be kind of reminded that my work is not my life. It's not 100% my identity. First of all, understanding that there's different ways to view work and that all of them are totally legit. There's nothing wrong with any of them is an important first step. Understanding where you fit in that is the second step. And then from there, you take it from there. So what do I need to do? Maybe I don't need to become a yoga teacher. Maybe I can keep my job because I really do view it as a job, and and really focus on making the time that I'm out of work higher quality, as well as maybe improving my relations in work.
Yeah.
So all of those considerations are super important.
It sounds like this would be something that would help people not waste a lot of time. So they can get right to.
Oh, absolutely.
Right to it.
Yeah, don't do what I did.
Yeah.
Waste 8 years to figure it out.
A lot of
right?
experimentation. A common theme that I've been hearing the last several months is that the pandemic, for as negative or bad of a thing as it was for maybe us or the economy or what have you, really kind of forced people to kind of reconsider how they're operating. And it sounds like maybe without the quarantine, you wouldn't have had time to experiment in all these other fields, if you will, and projects. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's again, I love hearing that. I know that I want to have Elio on the show here soon because same thing. I'm sitting here today, perhaps as a result of the pandemic, but we'll say that for another day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of, especially entrepreneurs, we're so kind of like in the muck and mire of our businesses that we don't have that opportunity to kind of sit back and take a look and say, okay, what else is going on? And the pandemic forced everyone to do that. Yeah, it forced everyone to stop working, right? At least for some time,
and breathe a second.
Breathe, look around, what's going on. That's definitely what happened with me. I hear that's what something similar happened with Elio. Yeah. So is that the music?
Yeah, man. I told you 30 minutes flies.
So take that time to figure out what's important to you.
2 final questions.
Okay.
Number 1, Michael. Have you ever faced any type of failure or insurmountable obstacle that you at the time felt like, oh, that's it, that's the end, I'm completely derailed? But in hindsight now, you look at it as a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, absolutely. From when I was younger, many years ago, rejected by women. I know, it's hard to believe. I know. It happened.
My wife just fell off her seat.
Rejected. But you mess up in a relationship, and and then you get this, and I'm such a hopeless romantic. My heart just break. But now I've been married to my wife now over a decade, or we've been together over a decade. And, all of those past experiences have served me well in my relationship today with her. So I'm super grateful for all of the heartbreak, because the stone that the builder refuses will always be the head cornerstone.
Trademark that. And finally, if you could choose one exercise to do for the rest of your life, what would that be?
Basketball.
I didn't know you were such a hooper.
Dude, I don't hoop all the time, but if given this ultimatum,
yes,
I'd have to go with basketball, because it's like jazz, it's like hip hop, it's improvisation, it's form, it's just everything beautiful. It's just such a beautiful sport. So that'd be it.
Hey, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me,
enjoyed it,
man.
My friend.
All right.
And thank you for tuning in today. I know it can seem overwhelming, wanting to be of service to others, but not knowing where to start. Well, there are those in need all around us, and it can be very easy to rationalize that one person really can't make a difference. But I would remind you of what one of the most altruistic humans that walked the planet, Mother Teresa, once said. Can we throw that up? Never worry about the numbers. Help one person at a time, and always start with the person nearest you. Take that in mind, and have a great week. Thank you. Oh, hey, by the way, we are on Apple Podcasts now, so give us a like, a subscribe, a follow, whatever you call it these days. I don't know, and a review. That would be great. Thanks again, Mike. Once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, for sure. My pleasure.
You guys have a great week.